Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Love and Action Network's Deconstruction Junction, where we pull apart life. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your days. Every day online and in my zip code, I help bold dreamers follow their bliss by using their time, talent, and treasure for the making of good trouble on the planet and the realization of dreams. As always, we are joined by the fabulous Tara Paola Studio, who's going to introduce herself while I share out the YouTube stream to all of our fans and friends. Welcome back, Tara.
Hello. Welcome back to you. It's been a couple weeks. We've been passing ships in the night, which also don't let our Snapchat thing die, our Snapchat streak. I'm Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. That intro might be changing, y'all. So just like strap in. Also, if you don't want to be a passing ship in the night anymore and you want to come talk to us, you could be the third host or the fourth host or the fifth host or the sixth host of, I think maybe you can only be the fifth. I don't know. I don't remember how many seats we have. Anyway, you can come on and talk to us for Deconstruction Junction. Or if you have another podcast idea, reach out to Dr. Flo. He's great at producing podcasts. Maybe there's a small fee. I'm not going to speak that for Dr. Flo. But anyway, let us know at lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. You can send us an email. You can live chat us. You can chitter chat with us however you feel. Okay? And let us know that you want to come talk to us. And we're not just deconstructing like race. We are deconstructing all of the things, like Dr. Flo said, the pull aparts, which made me think of the what's it called? It's called French onion soup monkey bread at the fair, which I might have to get this weekend. So there's that. What's our first topic today?
We're always thrilled to have our live audience with us. Let us know over on YouTube if you're interested in sharing some comments, and we'll put them up on the screen as we move forward. As an access need, I got a roll of toilet paper and some apple cider vinegar and water here because I'm on the mend from a severe cold / flu type of situation. So just be grateful that you're not having to be with me today or with me over the last couple days, because it was so crazy trying to heal from a bug that's going around the state. But I'm happy to be here and to share with everybody in the best ways that I can. Tara gets the first slide. All about the Texas house.
Yes. So y'all know now, you've heard our intros, that we haven't been here in 2 weeks. So this actually happened last week, but I left it in because I felt like it was really important to talk about. The Texas house. Y'all know. I think I have 2 slides after this. Nicole, oh no. What's her last name? Maybe it says on the next slide. Nicole. Does it say? That's from her. That's from her. Nicole Collier. Collier? Collier. Sure.
Collier?
Collier? Collier? Let us know, Nicole. Give us a call. Let us know. All right. So, in the Texas house, y'all know that there were things that like gerrymandering, okay? And then Gavin Newsom passed something in California that's like basically the same thing so that Democrats can maintain seats. Anyway, gerrymandering, Democrats left the state, and then they came back to the state and they were making the Democrats, everyone sign like a permission slip to leave. And yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. And Nicole got locked in the building. They would not let her leave. And so she was finally released. And she said, my work here isn't done, but my stay here is. So that is Texas in a nutshell. And this says, imagine locking a member of government in the state house because they refuse to sign off on being unjustly surveilled. Jesus Christ. This is what is happening to Representative Collier, however you say it, a black Democrat, a black Democratic representative in Texas. The representative, Nicole, refused to sign off on a law enforcement escort before being allowed to go home after Monday's session, a condition set by Texas Republican leaders. Now she remains locked in Austin State House until Wednesday. And then shortly after, and what came out, I believe it was actually last Thursday morning, and I haven't heard anything about the Senate yet, but seemed like the Senate was going to pass it. This is the Texas State Congress, y'all, not like the national federal government. But essentially, the GOP passed the law because they have the majority, and it was headed to the Senate for final approval, which I do believe it got. I think it was on Friday. But yeah, so there's that. And like I said, Gavin Newsom then retaliated and passed his own thing. And y'all, please not Gavin. Please don't run. Please don't run Gavin in 2028. Please.
Those Democrats certainly have their favorites, don't they? They have the people that they love to push. And I don't know why. Why do you think that he is with that
I think
perfectly
it's his hair, man.
Marvel villain hair?
He also, what is wrong with his voice? Have you ever heard him actually speak? He's grovelly. What is, it does not sound healthy, and it actually really bothers me. I think what happens is that there's a binary that gets set up for a lot of people, right? There's these litmus tests, there's these morality tests, there's these things that we put our politicians through, and we say, well, Gavin is standing up to Trump, and that is what all people care about right now. Which my advice, I'm not a politician, y'all, but just as your average citizen that votes and pays attention to politics, stop talking about Trump. I do not care. I literally do not care. Move on. I have moved on. I know the next 3.5 years are going to be horrible. What are you going to do in the meantime to make your local place better? That is all I care about, Dems. I don't care. You don't need to tell me that Trump is bad. I know that Trump is bad. I have understood that for literal years, decade almost. In fact, actually, it might be a decade because I think he announced his first run as president in 2015. Anyway, so I do think we get into this binary of oh, Gavin's standing up to Trump, but also we're not talking about how Gavin is also transphobic and has also said and anti-homeless, right? He houselessness. He has done some really terrible things. The same is true with Walz. Y'all go hard for Walz, and I understand he's cute. He's your quintessential dad. He talks like a Minnesotan. There are things about Walz that are. He was a teacher. These are things about him that I think people are oh yeah, and then he says occasionally he says the word shit. It's like the Beto thing. Beto, I think, was one of the first Democratic politicians to say fuck on a on a live thing. But people love Walz, except if you live in Minnesota, you remember what Walz did in 2020. You remember how he called in the National Guard on the black people here after George Floyd. You remember how poorly he handled getting the case removed from Jacob Fry. And I have a topic coming up at my next topic, but Jacob Fry is the mayor of Minneapolis. And this is the same thing. White man, good hair. People think he's fabulous, except that he is kicked out and made a vendetta against homelessness, right? Inside of Minneapolis. And y'all are going up for this man and what he said yesterday. Please do not forget all of these things that they have done that have been horrible, right? Horrible for the people that live in the state. Do not think that that would not come also to the presidential office. I think we just get lost in the good and we see the good and we want to go towards the good. And I don't think that's a problem, except that we're forgetting that everyone is good and bad, right? Everyone has good and bad aspects. And we have to align with what we say we want, which is liberation. So please, no Gavin.
And I would love to hear more about what they're going to do for working class people that
Right,
they can actually follow up on and see to completion. They make
right.
all of these empty promises, and then we still see homeless
Well, and
people
what
being carted away.
right, and what really did Kamala in my opinion, at the end, not only because she's a Black woman, right? But what really did that the Biden Harris team in was they kept gaslighting and they kept saying the economy is good. The economy is good. Inflation is down. The economy is good. Inflation is down. We're living here. Eggs were still $4 a dozen when Trump entered office. Quit fucking gaslighting your people. Stop it. We live here. We live here. We know what's happening. Do something about it. Do something. Not 25 hours on the floor or whatever Cory Booker did, not voting to send more money to Israel. AOC, I'm looking at you. Not like, stop it. Do something that is not performative, that actually changes the course of the constituents that you have been voted in by. That's all. Speaking of being yourself.
Yeah, I wanted to talk today just about what freedom comes to a person when they relax into honoring themselves. I spoke this morning in a clubhouse room about my years of professional performance and personal performance of my personality. And a lot of people abandoned me once I came out, as it were, for a few of the final times in saying, I don't want to stand on my head and bark like a dog. I don't want to. Oh, the dog just said, who, me? Your dog went, bark like a dog. That's my job. I don't want to do any of these things to be accepted and valued by friends, family, or strangers. I'm finding a peace in my life by showing up as I show up and being completely in the moment and letting the moment itself and the presence in the moment be enough. And I just wanted to stop briefly in our session today and just really give a shout out to everyone who is showing up as they feel. Um, it was really rough for me to take the last 2 days off as I was struggling with illness or not showing up last week because our move was very overwhelming on the body temple, and finding stability was an interesting journey. And getting my rest regulated and letting some of my drinking habits before bed go, and then dealing with incredible acid reflux. When Thursday came last week, I just simply did not have the spoons to do it. And then over the last few days, as we've been producing our content and programs, it's been like, do I really feel like going out here and giving folks the loved and lovable show? Or can I rest and relax into being myself? And I know that it can be very scary. I know that you might face a self rejection or an outer rejection as a result of honoring your needs and feelings. But I really want everyone to lean into what it might feel like to just say, this is where I am. These are my needs. This is what I can offer. And doing that in a joyful way and presenting it in a way to the world to where it's not a negative if you need to fall back or do less, but this is what I have. It reminds me of our conversations about spoon theory and how sometimes you just don't have the spoons to get life done. But even if you don't have the spoons, you have the language. Um, Spoon theory is a metaphor for chronic illness, pain, or other conditions, and the other conditions can just be life itself that limits a person's energy, where each spoon represents a unit of energy. People with chronic conditions or emotional chronic conditions wake up with a finite number of spoons, and each daily task from getting dressed to going to work costs spoons. Once spoons are used, they are gone for the day, and overexerting oneself can lead to severe fatigue and illness flares. The theory helps individuals with chronic conditions, or in this case, emotional conditions, or people who want emotional stability, which is everyone, and their loved ones understand and communicate the challenges of managing limited energies. I don't think there's anybody that I know that has an infinite well of energy. Everyone has to power down at some point, unless you've got like a cocaine thing going on, and I've lived that life too. That will keep you going. But unless unless you got that going on, you're not in an infinite uh, energetic space. And so having the language of, yo, I really appreciate the work that we're doing together. I really love showing up for community. I really enjoy um, making money with you. I really enjoy having fun. I really enjoy spending quality time, whatever your language is for what you're going through in your community. Giving yourself the freedom to be who you are and to say, this I have space for, this I do not have space for, this I will tolerate, this I will not tolerate. These kinds of conversations can help you feel stable in the world. And I'm realizing that, and I have this revelation like every 6 to 8 months. I never needed to gas my life so hard.
Ever.
But that's something that that's put on us.
Well, it's a facet of capitalism for sure. It's a facet of, you see other people going ham and seemingly being able to keep up with it, and it, you know, um, I think there's a lot of comparison, right? That happens if you're around other people and if you're in community with other people and you're like, oh well, so and so is out doing all of the things that I say that I want to do, and I just feel like I don't have capacity to do that. Or, I remember a lot of conversations, even in the last 6 months, that we've had of like when you were doing the 11 a.m. and the 3 p.m. room, right? It was like, do you really need to do it twice a day, Dr. Flo? Do you really, but your inner and outer,
High achiever complex.
right, wanting like, and that performance of, well, I'm Dr. Flo, I give the loved and lovable, I have to give the love, I have to be present, I have to always be, we got to have like check-ins. And it's like, well, yeah, but even yesterday, I did not have the spoons after burying my grandma to come in and do, I thought I was going to, but I got home last night and I was like, I could have sent a message, but I didn't run the room, right? I said that I would, but I was spent. I'm still a little spent today, as y'all can kind of see. I'm quite low energy. But I think that honoring, I come, I, again, all of life is forgetting and remembering, right? I feel like the thing that I come across every so often we long to steal, is that so much of decolonization, deconstruction, healing, social justice work is really digging deep into you and figuring out who the fuck you are, right? And like when you figure out who you are, then that gives you freedom to just walk into a room and be chill, right? Or walk into a room and not feel any, like this morning, right? There was 10, like there was probably maybe 15 minutes of silence. Um, no one was going up to the stage. Dr. Flo was on the stage. I was dealing with my baby. I don't know if y'all can hear the baby. The baby's in there talking to themselves, and I'm just waiting for the nap to come because we've really only slept for 15 minutes today, and that's just not, it's not going to be a good afternoon if we don't sleep. Um, but there was no like, oh, I have to get to the stage. Oh, I have to get to the stage. I'm sure there were people in the audience that were not familiar with the room or the space, like that were kind of like, I wonder what happened. What what happened? What happened? Why is nobody talking? But it can just be chill. Like, as you said, it can just be holding space. Like, it can literally be space, and that's okay. We don't always have to fill every open slot, right? Like, we're okay if we don't fill every open slot. Yeah.
And fill every moment. There's
Mhm.
like this need to react, respond, comment to everything we see online or in real life. That's not a requirement that was always there, and it's certainly not a requirement that needs to be there. But as we were talking today about this being ourselves and being in a relaxed state of ourselves, it made me look up with the AI what a high achiever complex is. And a high achiever complex is defined as a pattern of extreme ambition, meticulousness, and a drive for external validation that, while leading to external success, can result in perfectionism, chronic anxiety, burnout, social isolation, and a sense of emptiness despite accomplishments. Oof, I'm gonna read that one more time. And believe it or not, this is still tied into being yourself because I come up through uh, AP classes, taking college credits in high school, going to the higher grades of learning before I needed to learn it. And so I was conditioned as a child to be a high achiever and to beat myself up when I needed to rest or take a break or not overperform, but simply performing as regular, whatever that means, but just performing at a general state of well-being was me underperforming according to the people who placed these standards on me religiously in education circles, social circles, and beyond. And so, what it caused me to develop in my life that I'm now understanding in this conversation and leading up to this conversation is a high achiever complex, a pattern of extreme ambition, meticulousness, and a drive for external validation that, while leading to external success, can result in perfectionism, a thief of joy, chronic anxiety, a thief of joy, burnout, social isolation, and a sense of emptiness despite accomplishments. This complex, also known as high achiever syndrome, is not a clinical diagnosis, but a recognized pattern where individuals find it difficult to relax, ask for help, or find satisfaction outside of constant achievement. And this is often due to an over controlling temperament or a fear of failure. And they're like, this is a universal condition. There's like, I'm not the only person who feels this way. I'm not the only
I don't.
person, that goes through this. It can really ruin your day feeling like you need to do more than what you are physically able to do or what is coming to you in life. And so this is why I'm encouraging everybody who is listening now or tuning in later, and shout out to the hundreds of you that do tune in over on Substack and Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and wherever you source it, maybe in our private communities and networks. Just know that I want to say, I'm proud of you for doing the best that you can, and also realizing that this rat race thing, while there are bills to be paid and adult responsibilities, please be gentle with yourself, because capitalism is a treadmill that only wants to turn the speed up, not down. And if you're exhausted, that could be why. And this is why we are leaning personally into, and why I'm encouraging people to lean into community, because community takes the edge off and allows you to turn it from I need to fix it, or it's something for me to fix, into this is something that we can help move through together. And that can be very difficult if you're like me and you want to be independent and not have to. What did it just say? It said, it's to recognize patterns where individuals find it difficult to relax, ask for help, and find satisfaction outside of constant achievement. Asking for help, that's like a big, big, big thing. And what's crazy about it is that if you burn out, you eventually are forced into a situation where you have to ask for help, which is like, that
And
can
where
be
you
really
have to sit
difficult.
down,
Yeah.
right? You have to take the knee. So you might as well take the knee before it gets that bad.
Well, yeah, it became clear for me even in this last, few days of sickness, that if I didn't stop moving, I was going to eventually crash. I could have done my usual thing and just power it through, but it felt like powering through was going to make it worse, not better. So honor yourself, honor your needs. If you don't even know, sometimes when I say to people, be yourself, sometimes people are like, what does that even mean? Um, get attuned with your needs, your desires, your dreams, the things that you believe are going to make you happy within yourself and happy within community. Start honoring those things and treating them as sincere and worthy. And then find support by asking for help and not stopping that ask until you get it. Do you think that people have bent themselves out of shape enough in the society to relax, or do you think we're going to need a few more whacks at the life pinata before that happens?
I think there has to be a much greater like consequence because right now it's still so much on an individual level. Like you see, certain people close their businesses, or you see people stop their programming. I think that's pretty common on Clubhouse, right? You see people stop going live. You see people like, I think that when it's on such a individual basis and burnout isn't really recognized, and particularly in creative industries, right? Like you just it doesn't get recognized at the level that it should, and then nothing changes, right? Because there's always another person that, is coming in with fresh voice, um, or with fresh feet or with a fresh idea. And so they just, I joke a lot about it, but it was Abby Lee Miller who said in Dance Moms, um, everybody's replaceable. And that's the mindset, right? That's the mindset of a lot of people, that everyone is replaceable. And so that's why they continue to push themselves, right? Is to continue to be relevant and continue to be marketable and continue to be a part of um, the now because there's someone else to replace you, right? There's somebody else that can sing in that chorus. There's somebody else that can play that role. There's somebody else that can paint that picture. Um, and so I think that it's going like COVID almost did it, but 6 weeks in the house was not enough. Like the way that it forced people to just like stop, right? And scared people into stopping. I think that was a big deal. but it just wasn't a long enough pause. Like, I think that some of these symptoms of climate change, some of the storms and how the storms are going to continue to get worse and the heat's going to continue to get worse, I think that will have more of an impact systemically on the way that we all live and the way that we relate to one another and ourselves. So, I don't necessarily want it to get worse, but at the same time, I think the only way that a lot of people are going to recognize it under the current systems is if it does get worse.
I hope that we wake up sooner than later. It used to be in my former Cult of Christ days where I wanted to save people's souls or wanted Jesus to save their souls, before the end of the world drew near. Now it's just kind of like don't you want to be happy with your remaining days here types of a vibe for me. Wouldn't you like, as long as you're left here, to be peaceful, happy, healthy, and free? So shout out to everyone who is finding peace and stability in being themselves today. And for those of you still seeking what it means to be yourself, I know you're going to find it. It's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of effortless expression in your flow, whatever that means for you. This was sitting in my email. I've not listened to it, but this guy usually has positive things to say. So I wanted to unpack this video today of Dr. Otis Moss. I will introduce him by saying that Dr. Otis Moss is the pastor of Chicago's Trinity United Church of Christ. He espouses Black theology and speaks about reaching inner city Black youth. His father, Otis Moss Jr., was an affiliate of Martin Luther King Jr., working together in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and serving in 1971 as the co-pastor with his father, Martin Luther King Sr., at Ebenezer Baptist Church. So this guy is pretty high up in the echelon of the Black liberation movement. And he's also very easy on the eyes, in my humble opinion. So it's like a double. Like, he always has very liberatory things to say, and I don't mind looking at him as well. So I hope that you all enjoy this twofer. Look at it.
I can't really see him. You have to make him big.
What a snack.
Oh, he does have kind of a cute beard, and his cheekbones are cute.
Yeah, he's just got that light skin thing going on, and let's see what he has to say.
His name is Lewis Powell. It was in 1971 that Lewis Powell wrote an essay entitled "The Attack on the American Free Enterprise System." This essay communicated how America had become too liberal and how America had become too diverse, and that corporations and business leaders and CEOs should run the country. This essay went viral, where a gentleman by the name of Joseph Coors, of Coors family and beer industry, read that article and was so incensed, he decided to take part of the money from his family and put it in to set up what we know today as the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is the group that set up Project 2025. As a result of the Heritage Foundation being set up in 1973, then a gentleman by the name of Anthony Fisher, a British national, set up the Manhattan Institute, which was a think tank. The Manhattan Institute, mirroring the Heritage Foundation, would set up policy like the Heritage Foundation, but it's the Manhattan Institute that Christopher Rufo was a fellow, and he is the individual who built the attack on what is known as critical race theory. Then in 1981, you had the Federalist Society, founded right here in Chicago at the University of Chicago. Law schools across the country that would begin to develop conservative lawyers and judges who would make sure that America would not move in the direction of what was created as a result of the civil rights movement. Why is this important? It is important because these legislators who are with us today, though they have made their way from Texas to Illinois, it should be known that those pulling the strings and funding the policy trying to take away democracy come from the Heritage Foundation, the Manhattan Institute, and the Federalist Society. And Lewis Powell, who wrote that essay in 1971, ended up becoming a Supreme Court justice under Richard Nixon. We are witnessing people attempting to undermine democracy. First, with partisan gerrymandering, and second, with racial gerrymandering. Partisan gerrymandering means that one particular party is trying to set up districts so they remain in control. Racialized gerrymandering is set up specifically to dilute the power of people of African descent. Racial gerrymandering was pushed aside as a result of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. But because of 5 Supreme Court justices, all of whom were vetted by the Federalist Society and were former members of the Federalist Society, they have voted to, piece by piece, begin to take away the Voting Rights Act of 1965. This is why what these representatives are doing today is so incredibly important. I want you to know the history that they are fighting for democracy, standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, and we are proud of each and every one of you. And that is my 5 minutes. His name is Lewis Powell. It was in 1971.
Yeah, folks. So they've been playing the long game since the 60s. For some reason, they don't want everyone to receive equal treatment. You know, we go to the grocery store and our food costs the same, and the utilities in our community cost the same, and the price to live house to house in our neighborhoods costs the same. But yet they don't want us to receive the same fair treatment in society based on skin color, based on in-group versus out-group types of ideology. And I appreciate Dr. Otis Moss III for connecting the dots on how the people who wanted to highlight racial difference and to use racial bias as a way to discredit people from having a happy life, they never stopped being on their bullshit. And those of us who believe that every human deserves access to clean water and food and a place to live and a happy life and a happy coexistence in their society and in their community with others, you know, that happiness, healthiness, pursuit of happiness, all of that type of stuff. We have to really ring the alarm because there's some pretty mean-spirited things happening. For example, we saw them waste, what was it, $400 million on alligator Alcatraz, only to have it shut down. That's money that could have gone to provide for humans to live. Similar thing with the food that went bad over in Dubai as part of USAID. You know, a lot of people are standing in the grocery store line, struggling to pay for their groceries, or they're using Affirm Pay and other pay later systems for groceries. And yet, people who have money are wasting the money, not providing for the people, while other people in power are trying to dismantle people's rights to live. I think it's very, very bizarre. I think that this guy connected the dots very well, and that we should pay attention to what's going on. And those of us who are light workers and humanitarians should be saying more and doing more.
No crumbs. Agreed. 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 Speaking of liberation, I don't think school shootings would happen. In my liberated world, school shootings wouldn't happen. We are less than a week into school, the school that started. And I tell this story every time that there's a school shooting, but I am old enough, and I think Dr. Flo is old enough, to remember the first code red in schools, because it happened after Columbine, when they taught us how to hide from gunmen, when they taught us how to barricade the doors, when teachers got to tell us that, you know, heroically they would put their bodies in front of us, right? The 30 kids that they had in the room. Make it make sense. But anyway, if we flip to the next slide, this particular shooting, this mass shooting, was yesterday in Minnesota, at a church that I have sung at, Annunciation Catholic School. 20 people were injured, between the ages of, I mean, there were some adults too, but the kids as young as 6, and 2 children were killed, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. And if you click on the picture, there is a video of one of the 10-year-olds who was in this shooting, and then I'll tell you all some more. It maybe not. If we don't have the video, that's okay, because I have things to say about the video. And y'all, I'm so sorry if you can hear. Oh, well, I guess it didn't save. That's all right. Essentially, the little 10-year-old boy says that his classmate jumped in front of him, and that all, like, how scary it was, and how they had only been trained what to do when they were in their classrooms. These kids were at church praying. I continuously, every time this happens, like, we know it's going to happen, right? Like, we know there's one every single year, but every single time it's like, okay, y'all said Uvalde was the last one. Y'all said Columbine was the last one. Y'all said, you know, like, all of the ones that have happened before. And this one, you know, like a Church of Annunciation, this will be the last one. And it never is the last one. Never is the last one. Because people value the rights of guns over the rights of children. It really, sending kids and sacrificing children for a piece of metal is a really weird way to play life. That's really It's really weird. And the last thing I will say about this particular shooting is that anybody can be radicalized in either direction. The shooter of this shooting was a trans woman, white trans woman who had been radicalized into basically Nazism, right? White supremacist Delulu, and also had history with this church and school. I don't quite know the whole thing, but had written a manifesto and all of these things. And to that I say, churches, people of God, those of you proclaiming to be people of God, trans people are people. Trans people are people. And what the GOP is doing right now is using this as a reason to, quote, ban trans people, as opposed to banning assault weapons. This is not reflective of an entire group of people. This is very simply a person who was radicalized into the alt-right pipeline. So yeah, that was yesterday in Minnesota, about 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m. And Robin, that's the shooter's name, killed herself as well. So that's that.
The question will always be for me, how do we encourage a more compassionate society where the kids can be cared for, where the people can feel safe and protected without the need for guns, and where trans people don't feel like the only place they can go for refuge is into these deep, dark corners of the internet to be validated. If the so-called light workers and healers were giving the hugs and the affirmation and the peer support that we do in Love and Action Network, then the yeses and the amens and the you're doing a great job would come from peers who want to see something positive happen, as opposed to the atta girls, atta boys, atta they thems that are happening in these corners of the internet where people are being incited into some pretty crazy things. Robin Westman posted 2 YouTube videos, one 10 minutes and the other 20 minutes long, showing writings that reference suicide, depression, and extremely violent thoughts and ideas. The message was addressed to family and friends, and a drawing of the layout of a church. The video showed a quantity of guns, bullets, and magazines, and messages were written on the guns, including anti-Semitic, anti-Catholic, and racist phrases, with the words "kill Donald Trump," and 6 million wasn't enough, referring to the Holocaust death toll, and the names of mass shooters Adam Lanza, Anders Behring Breivik, and Brenton Tarrant, the latter of whom also wrote similar statements on firearms. They've taken down the channels, but they had met or claimed to have met a pro-gun YouTuber, Brandon Herrera. Herrera has since publicly condemned the shooting in an X post, but when you're out here spinning such venom and animus in the world, it's going to ripple into someone's family. And now 2 of these children aren't here. And neither is the shooter. Because we as a society don't support people in the ways that I know that we can. I don't know. I try to reconcile it, even though I know that's virtually impossible to do. But I try to make sense of it, and the only thing that I always return to is that fear. People fear not being armed more than they fear something horrible happening to their child in school. There's a reason why The schools are being targeted. These are gatherings where people can be harmed, but also it's like a way to kind of get back at a society that calls little people precious, but is very hypocritical.
Right. How pro-life are you when you're when you refuse to protect the ones that live?
Right.
How,
And if you don't protect my human life, then I will devalue all life, which makes any community that we're in an incubator for disaster, which of course creates people not feeling safe, which is why in certain communities in the country, people are literally walking around with guns strapped to their chest. I wanted to pawn, nobody wanted it, by the way, folks, but I wanted to pawn the microwave when I was leaving town from our last place. And I went into a gun shop / pawn shop, and both of the people working in there had guns strapped to their chest. So I was like, what is this all about? They were like, well, it's stupid repellent, and also it's to protect ourselves. And I understand why a person working in a gun shop or gun pawn shop wouldn't want to protect themselves, but imagine the fear on the inside to have a gun at chest level, always ready to draw on someone. That can't be a healthy emotional state to be in life. I wouldn't want to live that way.
I wouldn't either.
It's just sad for everybody involved because the trans woman did not feel love and then ripple that feeling out to everyone. And of course, we see the numbers. Every time something like this happens, you know who wins? The gun manufacturers. Their stocks go up every time this happens. Someone goes out, and even though they're sending their kids miles away to school, they say, I need a gun now to protect myself at home because guns sell and guns make money. The U.S. is one of the major manufacturers and distributors of arms. And like I told you about that shiny iPhone you got, they don't want them to sit on the shelf. And
Right.
how do you get things moving off the shelf? They either depreciate, as your phone did, and you needed a new one, which is wonderful. Welcome to the 21st century again. Or you have to arm up to get rid of the fear that's being constantly thrust on you through violent news cycles.
Right.
But America was built and founded on bloodshed in the streets. So this is kind of the American way. I just wish it were not so. I'm also happy to be off of a block where everybody had weapons. I just came from a living environment where everyone was armed and no one liked each other. And it just did not make for a harmonious environment to know that at the drop of a pin, people would just arm and decide to protect themselves from the feelings they had inside, real or imaginary. They could have that. And as it relates to this school shooting and people arming themselves, you want to deal with the fear because that's going to be with you all the time. Imagine their sleep state.
Right.
I think this is an old slide. But this is the reason also why some people arm themselves.
I agree that it's an old slide.
Yes.
Yes.
These wounds that aren't dealt with, whether it's an abandonment wound or not feeling protected by your parent, not feeling protected by society. This trans person who committed this violent act did not feel supported by people who could have loved them. You know, the fact that every church doesn't have a trans ministry is nuts.
Right. And the fact, yeah. Yep.
And there's scripture, you know, both Tara and I went to Bible colleges and Christian universities, believe it or not. See how that turned out. And there are passages that talk about the ways in which we treat the people who are the most oppressed and suppressed in our society. For those of you who are familiar, it's the least of these passage. Whatever you do to the person who is esteemed as the lesser in society is what you are doing in the spiritual realm to the wholeness of it all. And the fact that people don't see the connection or don't want to see the connection because of overwhelm or selfishness or what the Buddha would call greed, hatred, anger, and delusion, it's kind of wild. I'm going to push past Tara's slide and come back for it because I got to tell y'all about this show that I'm obsessed with. It's called Succession, and it's on HBO. And it is an American satirical black comedy drama television series created by Jesse Armstrong. It seems like it's no longer on the air. It seems that it aired from June 3rd, 2018 to May 28th, 2023. It centers on the Roy family, the owners of a global media and entertainment. One more time. The owners of a global media and entertainment conglomerate. I'm going to blame my cold for me not having proper use of my N's and my M's. The owners of a global media and entertainment conglomerate, Waystar Royco, and their fight for control of the company amidst uncertainty about the health of the family's patriarch. It is my current obsession. I cannot wait to complete my day or to complete this session here to be able to go and watch more episodes of these lighter than me people fight for reign of their family company. There's so much sabotage in it. I think it's brilliantly written. I can't wait to find shows like it. So if you're out there and you're listening and you know of a show that resembles Succession, send me details. Shout out to Nye, one of our friends of the network, who mentioned this show casually in one of her rooms. I had only watched like half an episode of this show. It was kind of like I'm not sure if I really want to go on this particular journey because so much of what it covers is what we're already seeing in society. Kendall Roy, the oldest backstabbing son in the family, who's one of the main characters, is very reminiscent of Trump's son. His cocaine use, and wild behaviors.
Which one of Trump's sons is the cocaine user? Or is it all of them?
It's Trump Jr. Yeah, we just saw him like yesterday. rubbing. We just saw him recently rubbing cocaine on his gums.
Cool.
Let's see if I can. Those of us who've lived the life know that there are very limited reasons why you would pull this maneuver. Into the pocket he goes, touches his stash, rubs it right into his gums.
Sure did.
One more time for the people in the back.
Sure did. Sure did.
So yeah, Kendall Roy, the son of Logan Roy, the dad who runs Waystar Royco, has very close similarities to Trump Jr. So I wasn't sure that I really wanted to watch a show that was going to resemble this hellscape that we live.
Like Handmaid's Tale, you know?
But when I say that they have me by the balls,
What are you going to do when you finish it?
I'm going to look up right now.
Shows like Succession.
If you like Succession. Shows if you like Succession. Okay, so we're over on Reddit. It says The Wire is a borderline companion piece to Succession. Peep Show. People are saying Veep.
I've never
The
seen
White
any of them.
Gemstones. They're saying like Arrested Development.
Never seen it. Is that the one?
Someone
with,
said House of the Dragon is literally all the Succession plot with royalty, but with dragons included, but it isn't funny.
Team Black. Team Black. Team Black.
The White Lotus.
Okay. You know what's interesting is I know somebody that had a coat featured on that show. Who's the lady in that show? On the last one that you said, White Lotus.
All of these people who are giving these recommendations, I mean, yeah, someone says, I don't think there's actually a show which can replace Succession. And all of the things that they are giving in the comments and down the forum, no. This show is black comedy, which black comedy is a style of comedy that makes light of subject matter that's generally considered taboo. And there's just nothing like it that I've seen.
Do you feel that I would like it? Knowing that I don't particularly care for comedy. Like I don't like The Office. I don't like South Park. I don't like Family Guy.
Well, see, that's there. When people say that it's funny,
yeah,
there's nothing funny about these people. Like, they're like funny things get said by the characters, but this is a gritty, corporate, capitalistically driven family, and they're all evil. So it's kind of, you know, like it's not something that you're going to settle in and like laugh to. This is not Will and Grace.
Okay.
It's kind of odd. It was odd for me to read today that it is considered a satirical black comedy drama, because I don't like. It's also coming under the category of a tragic comedy. a literary genre that blends aspects of both tragic and comic forms. But I promise you, like, there's a lot of crass things being said by Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kieran.
I didn't know he had a brother, but okay.
Yeah, Poppy Water hates the way the guy looks. He looks like a bird in the face.
Does he look like Macaulay? Because Macaulay looks weird too. He's a weird looking dude.
Kieran, this is what he looks like. Judge for yourself.
Well, he's cuter than his brother.
Poppy Water hates seeing this guy on the TV.
I don't know. I don't think he's that bad.
I don't
He's got
care.
nice hair. Got nice hair.
Anyway, y'all check out Succession if you're interested in that kind of carrying on. I cannot wait to see how these people seek to destroy each other a little bit more, which of course goes against my whole bring everybody together vibe. I just think it's an accurate portrayal of what's happening in the cutthroat channels of New York City. Corporate.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll try an episode. What is it on? Is it on Apple TV?
HBO Max.
Oh. Thank you to me. All right. So I've been stuck on this. Y'all know. For some reason, I feel like this might be an old side too. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just because I made the deck last week and imagined the conversation that I would have and then didn't. But I've been stuck on this for weeks, that there is only abundance. There's only abundance. So the thread says, we have enough food and water for everyone on this planet. No one should go without. No one. No one. And we've talked about that already today. But literally, the earth has provided enough for all of us. And the only reason that not everyone does is because of some people in power. And capitalism. Capitalism. I'm struggling just as hard with my words today, but it's because I took my narcotics. Y'all saw it.
I think that it's unfortunate that things could be better, but capitalism doesn't want it to move better.
Right.
So folks like myself are having to carve out containers of joy.
Joy.
To just be okay in the midst of the nonsense, because my father was born, lived, and died under a fucked up system. And I don't see capitalism going anywhere anytime soon. So I have to win in it and use all of my skills and abilities in order to win in it. And help as many people as I can along the way. But it sucks.
Did you watch that billionaire playlist that I sent to, I think I sent it to Deconstruction Junction. I think you were indisposed. I will send it to you directly. And again, because there was a conversation, and this is, it relates to what you just said of trying to find a way to help as many people as you can. And essentially, it's this person who was like, who was the person that said first? Who was the person that said this phrase that started like wildfire? And we say it, right? And Dr. Flo is, I think, asked me about it on this podcast. That all billionaires are unethical. Like, it is unethical to be a billionaire. And this person was like, just because the current billionaires are unethical, does that actually mean that we cannot have ethical billionaires? That we cannot have ethical millionaires? That we cannot have ethical people with the funding to appropriately redistribute wealth and move things and help people, right? And it was just a really interesting, I was like, my brain is broke. My brain is broke. My brain is broke. But yeah, I think you are 100% correct. And we've talked about this before, that capitalism is just not going anywhere. It's been here. It's not going anywhere. There's too many people that still believe in it. And so we have to find a way to be happy, healthy, and free underneath of the current state of events. And also in that billionaire playlist, she was talking about how if we did do a general strike, like just how much funding we would need to do a general strike to take care of people. And I can't remember if it was a day or a week or a month, but it's like $10 billion, y'all. I don't know if any of y'all have just $10 billion sitting around, but I sure don't. So how are you going to take care of your community? Right? Like,
I'm not going there with you today either, because of course you don't have $10 billion sitting around, but you could if they made it up out of thin air.
right.
Like this is the sickness itself. The money is made up. I don't have $10 billion sitting around. Does anybody have $10 billion sitting around? No, it's sitting in a computer, in a hard drive, with people in power saying, this is what's there. I refuse to do this, even today. It's very frustrating because it's giving patriarchal bullshit because I said so. There's no money to support anybody. Well, why is there no money to support anybody? Because daddy said so. I've been watching Succession, and Logan Roy is the white man in power. And a lot of the bullshit that happens in that family and happens in the company and ripples into people's lives is because my dad told me so. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. You know, to your quip, Bezos has not seen all of his money. Bezos will never see and lay eyes on all of his money. In fact, the cotton and the ink materials that that would be necessary to print the money and to cut the money and to ship the money would not even be necessary because it sits in backed up data files on computers now. And the fact that selfish people in power refuse to hit Command C, Command V, and make more of it to take care of people reestablishes more of the hierarchical bullshit. No, none of us have $10 billion sitting around, but the fact that we still play into this notion that the money means something is nonsensical. And we deserve the bad time that we're having because we think that the money means something.
Well, I think that's the whole point that she's making, is that there's a belief that money makes people bad. Those people were bad before they had money.
I'm not going to get into the good or bad of the money. I'm saying release the money so that the people can be taken care of.
Do you think that would make them an ethical billionaire?
What?
If they release the money, would that make them an ethical person?
I think we're focused. I think the whole conversation is still focused on the wrong shit. I think we're still focused, even in this conversation, on making a singular person financially wealthy when there's literally thousands of people in the streets who don't have a house. Thank you, Huff. Because I will literally take every roll of tissue you got. So thank you. Thank you. Look what Mom just delivered.
By the morning.
Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful. Oh my God. Beyond. Everybody who watches the show and listens to the podcast knows I can roll through some tissue like nobody else said. This is softer on the nose. She loves my nose. So yeah, I think that we are.
No, I'm not giving you more.
I think that we are focused on still playing the game and wanting to esteem certain people as an ethical billionaire versus an unethical billionaire. I don't care about the figureheads that, another Elon. Who needs another one of those? I'm saying put the money in a system unnamed to provide for people, because it's all made up anyway. The fact that we want to be rich still is the sickness.
I don't think that was the point. I think the point was to redistribute the wealth into the communities that actually need it, like to stop hoarding it, right?
So how would that work?
Well, I guess it would require them to release the numbers in the back of a system, right?
Right.
In the current state of capitalism, if more people need more resources, then the resources have to be released from somewhere. Because they exist. You're right. They exist. They exist in a computer. You're on mute, or something happened. Or maybe we lost the microphone.
Watch Succession. Because you'll see people who do not look like us whining and dining, plotting how to destroy the lives of people who are less fortunate than them. And that's the beginning, middle, and end of all of our problems. Are they going to release the money? No, because their kink is suffering and harming humans. The colonizers like standing on the heads of the people beneath them. This is why England and the royal people go through the villages of Africa and make them pledge fidelity and kiss the ring and all these type of things. It's actually the power of being better than someone and seeing someone starve unless they meet the demands. It's just a really, really effed up situation. Let's just be grateful that we're in the United States and not in Sudan. Anyway, we got to end this show, y'all. Ceasefire now in our hearts and also in our minds and also in the world. Did you want to read this deck?
Yes, I can read it. It just says free Puerto Rico, free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, and free all oppressed people. And if y'all are talking about the two little so-called white kids that died yesterday, which I know a lot of you are, you can talk about Palestine, you can talk about Congo, and you can talk about Sudan, and you can talk about Puerto Rico. You can.
Y'all, we've got programs in the network that we'd love you to pour into and come into. The first one is Adopt a Black Artist. If you are out there and you're looking for help and support and accountability and admin services, maybe you need a flyer, maybe you need a better schedule, maybe you need a better content calendar, maybe you need someone to reach out to you every week to make sure that you are moving your goals forward. We have very affordable services within the network. Free sliding scale, donation based, and also premium under Adopt a Black Artist. Tap into that. We also do daily peer support programs over on Clubhouse and also through the WhatsApp communities and Instagram communities for those who participate. So plug into that. It doesn't take much to just do a little Marco Polo action for the lifting of dreams. You'd be surprised how many people say that they don't have any support in their lives at all. And then kind of get into the hypnotic rhythm of never finding it. We are here and available to you if you want to step into that. Like I talked about earlier, I'm stepping out on offering freelance admin and support services to provide for people who have a need to have their plate lightened, if you will. So definitely give me a call, 404-585-1278, 404-585-1278, or askdrflo@gmail.com. Or you can go through and look for all of the services that are listed at lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. Also, hiring for Dr. Phil and the Love Experience, which will be a grassroots tour coming up out of Savannah, Georgia, and beyond. Tap in if you've got some talent, time, and treasure. Would love to meet the folks on the ground here. I just realized that I am very close in proximity to Georgia Southern University, and they even got an arts drive on the campus over there. So I'm going to go over very soon and meet the local artists because they know where the scene is. And I am looking to plug in and make some art happen here. So yeah, thanks everybody for sending me your materials. And we can't wait to make some amazing magic with you. What you got going on, Paolo?
Well, we have a joint thing tomorrow, Empowered Hello. That is at 6 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, which you can see on there. We've got Freedom Fridays, which everything is free. So there's 15-minute alignment checks. There are 30-minute alignment resets. And then, as always, I have my Blackening the Canon group chat. And I'll have an album under that very soon. Hopefully in September is my plan. So yeah, that's not it. Oh, and there's a couple spots open going into September in my studio. So if you're interested in piano or voice lessons, let me know. You can find all of that at tarapriolo.com/links. That's also where you can put tomorrow's masterclass with Dr. Flo on the calendar. That was disgusting. My child just walked in the room and burped. Confirmed by Piper.
I was like, I wonder where they got that from.
Confirmed by Piper. Like literally just.
Oh my goodness. Epigenetics, everybody. Epigenetics. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching and participating in today's magic. I hope that you enjoyed the last hour and 22 minutes of a deconstruction of our thoughts about what's happening in the news and religion and society and fiat currency and beyond. We're so grateful that you take the time to participate in our programs and hold space for love daily. And like we said, if you're looking for support, just reach out to us through our live chat or any of our social media channels. We would love to connect with you. Any closing thoughts?
No, love to love it by the link, y'all.
All right. And we hope that I've not heard anything from Charles McNair. I'm going to go over to
I
Facebook.
saw them post something about how racism still exists.
Hashtag duh.
Right. Might have been yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I think the last thing that I saw on there that was like maybe of importance, which I think you highlighted last time, was like the police chief or someone was like, Charles McNair should be released. I mean, yes.
Charles, we're thinking about you, buddy. Hope that you see your freedom soon in the midst of really hateful people in that state. I had to get out. I got out before he did. That's saying something. Stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable, folks. We'll see you very, very soon around the network. Take care.